discussing it, and therein lies the problem of their own. So they say things like, they're on, but they're wrong. Charlize, they're wrong, and hence this song. Welcome to the Theronathon. We're gonna do the Theronathon. Take a bite and chew the Theronathon. Juicy like fondue, the Theronathon. Get a film review at the Theronathon. Woohoo, the Theronathon. I'm sniffing glue on the
You are listening to Theronathon. We are here taking a deep, depraved plunge into the filmography of Charlize Theron. With me, as always, are Regina Conway.
Hello.
And Robin Hitchcock.
Hello!
And my name is Bob Shields, and we have a special guest, plural, the remaining 2/3 of Frankly Scarlett. We always have 1/3 of Frankly Scarlett.
That's me,
on the
Robin
show.
Hitchcock.
But today we also have Liz Labacz.
Hi!
And Abby Fudor.
Hello!
This week's movie is The Devil's Advocate. Somewhat of a turning point for Charlize in her career.
Absolutely.
I think, and indeed for a few people in it. Do we have 1-star reviews prepared?
Absolutely.
All right, and you can go first.
Let's do it. That's so good. I wish you had gone first. There's no way to top it. But my one-star review is generally,
Okay, then mine would be,
Mine is, mine would be,
I think that's all we need to say. So thank you guys for tuning in.
exactly. We're done. You know everything you need to know.
Yeah, so needless to say, this movie is relatively thrilling, but it doesn't actually have a gigantic amount of spectacle in it. It manages to be compelling and delightful and joyous and disturbing without being, like,
Really? I
spectacular.
think there's a lot of spectacle in it.
Well, let's discuss the plot a bit. So we're actually going to turn the mic to our guests, Liz and Abby, to summarize this film for you.
I'll start.
You start.
No. You're alphabetically before me. Go ahead.
One minute at a time.
Oh my god, can we do that for like 30 seconds?
The
Devil's
Advocate
is
a
movie
about
Keanu
Reeves,
becoming
the
most
evil
lawyer
you
ever
saw.
the end.
That
That's
was
what was
brilliant.
on the poster. Okay, so that's fantastic. Thank
That
you
is
guys.
Not what the movie's about.
All right, let's hear what it's actually about.
Okay, so we open on a courtroom scene where Keanu Reeves is just a real Southern lawyer, we can tell.
A hot shot, if you will.
A hotshot, yes. And we're at a case of a possible pedophile, and we learn very early on in something that I'm trying not to go off track, but I never noticed it before today as watching.
Me either.
That's how we knew
Yes.
that he was guilty for fondling the desk.
He literally has his hand down his pants.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
He starts by fondling the desk, and then you see his hand in his fly.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that either,
I-
and I'm wondering if I've just watched an edited version.
I bet you
I
have.
watched
Although
the
I
edited
do
version.
remember watching the real version because of the nudity.
Yeah, I've
So-
sing naked Charlize
Yeah.
many times.
I
So
think it's
just to
maybe too
clarify
subtle.
for a second, he's in a courtroom and a young girl is on the stand talking about being molested by her teacher, and he's the
Him.
teacher's defendant, and he being Keanu,
Oh.
and he looks at the defendant who is fingering the desk, like reliving the moment
Yes.
of touching the student and also himself.
Yeah.
And I think when I saw this movie in high school or middle school, that flew right over my head. I was
Yeah.
like, what's that?
Also, I was like, dude, you have no chill.
Right,
Wait
together.
1 minute. There'll be a recess soon.
Right.
You can whack it in the bathroom.
Oh, that's
Also,
so gross. It's Frank Sabacco, which was also upsetting.
Who's that?
He's
From The Wire.
He's in the second season of The Wire.
Have
And
you
the
seen
girl
Wire?
is Heather Matarazzo from Dollhouse.
That's right.
Welcome to
Dolls.
the...
That's right. Yeah.
I thought that was like Robin's abbrev.
That was literally me conflating the titles between that and the Joss Whedon series.
I thought you were conflating it with Ibsen, because I'm a dork.
And
I am not that kind of
Anyways,
dork.
we're doing good. Okay,
job.
I just had to say, like, that was the only thing I saw today in the viewing that I was like, I've never
It
seen that
is.
before.
It is very. I do think it is cut out of edited
Oh,
version.
it must
I'm
be.
sure it
but
is.
I know I've seen an unedited version because I
Yes.
remember being scandalized by the nudity.
Yeah. So he's a hotshot lawyer. That is set up very quickly to give him a crisis of conscience, and he has never lost a case, and he knows that, and so basically you can see him take a moment to decide, and he does the evil thing and humiliates this girl on the stand and wins the case.
Just pause us for a second.
Yes.
Are you gonna get lawyerly on us?
I am unfortunately going to do that. This is one of my least favorite tropes. There's an episode of Perry Mason where he realizes his defendant is guilty, and so he exposes her on the stand. There's an episode of Matlock.
Primal Fear.
Yeah, okay. That is not what lawyers are supposed to do. That's
It's
not their
unethical.
job. That is unethical. That is, I mean, I don't want to say it's
You mean he
evil.
did the right thing?
He did the right thing.
So there. Okay, so let's get into some lawyer ethics
Yeah.
on this Charlize Theron podcast. But I think it's not just that he doesn't expose him; it's that he goes full force after this
You
girl.
are meant to be a zealous advocate for your client.
Okay, I mean he is cruel to that girl.
I do not feel
Zealotry
like
is cruel.
what he
Okay.
did was. I thought what he did was appropriate lawyering. There were a couple. I mean, like if I were opposing counsel, guys, I've never practiced. If I were opposing counsel, I would have been objecting the shit out of what he was doing.
Right.
He does object a lot, and he gets
Yeah.
overruled.
Right. And I don't know if all of those overrules are appropriate. Like they do. They ask her like at one point he's like it goes to credibility, and I'm like I don't really think it's
bias.
true. Yeah, but what Keanu does is not bad. It's not evil. And
I think
Is that not the central question of this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a big part of this film is that, like, you saying that's what a lawyer should do. A big thesis of this movie is that lawyers are evil.
Right.
Like, I mean, it is. I think that, like,
I
it's
mean, you're
very,
right.
it's very like, oh, can you believe it? The devil's a lawyer. Of course he'd be.
Right.
That's what the movie's saying. So
Yeah, you're.
sorry.
I'm a secretary.
Right. And I mean, not to get topical, but I think you can look at today, the world, and see that, like, you can work well within the bounds of the law and do things that are perfectly legal that are immoral.
Yeah, I know that. Anyway, all right, just my little bugaboo. Judging someone for being an effective lawyer is troubling for me.
I also think it is an easy target to be like, defense lawyers, what scumbags.
Right.
And it's interesting that he was previously a DA,
Mhm.
which just sort of gets mentioned briefly, and then I find it more objectionable that he was a DA who refused to plead out.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking evil.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is evil. Because the whole point of the reason that we have plea bargains is to save the system the trouble of trying guilty people.
What's evil is wasting the taxpayers' money.
I was saying that and I
The
feel bad
spirit
about
of
it.
Mike Rubino just came into your mind.
But seriously, like that's so.
But also,
I
like,
can't imagine.
some people want to plea out. They're like, yes, I did this.
Right,
I would like to take a
I want to
plea.
be done.
And I don't want to, like, drag my family through this. I don't want to, like, not
Exactly.
every crime needs a trial.
If you want to think about it as on a smaller level, like if a parent was like, I think maybe you stole money from my wallet, we're gonna have a trial. No, I did
I
it.
did it.
Can you give me my punishment?
No, we're having a trial.
No, we're gonna have a trial.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of those things show that his crime is not being an effective lawyer. It's wanting
Is it-
to win at all costs.
Is his sin vanity, perhaps?
Oh!
Is it possible that he has a fatal flaw?
Oh,
I don't know.
maybe.
Let's find out. Okay, so back to the
So,
So-
he wins the case.
So he wins the case, and then they go to the bar to celebrate, along with their, I just want to mention, because it's important later, it's the two of them. I want to say Keanu's, like, co-lawyer. There's four of them,
Yeah.
and then
co-counsel.
co-counsel.
Yeah.
And their buddy in the press.
Right.
Okay?
Who, importantly, is the person who kind of eggs Keanu on when he takes a break. And
Oh,
has
that's
the
true. When he's
touch
deciding
of
what
pride.
to do, the press guy's like, hey, listen, can't win them all.
Wink.
Right.
And that is sort of the moment where you see Keanu decide to
I
do...
will
No, I
win them
can
all.
win it.
Right.
Yeah. So they're all drinking, having a good time.
Keanu bites Charlize's butt. on
Yes,
the floor.
in
It's
public.
so fucking hot.
Yes.
I have notes.
Oh,
about
we
that,
haven't
but
talked
we'll
at
return
all
to
yet
this.
about her amazing lady suit
Yes.
or her
Hair.
perm.
She's got a bitchin' blonde perm.
Yes. So, okay, well, I'm done talking about that now. So then Keanu goes to the bathroom and a black lawyer, I bring it up because He
They
brings
bring
it up
very awkwardly.
very awkwardly.
There's a lot of weird race stuff
Yeah.
in this movie.
Basically, this guy's like, hey, we've been following your career. Here's my card. We want you to come to New York. My firm, my very expensive, rich New York firm, wants you to come to New York and pick a jury for us. We hear you're very good at picking juries. And we'll pay you no matter what. And basically, he decides to go. The only other thing that happens before then is he does check in with his mother before he leaves, who is a Bible-thumping, super
Very
religious, in
conservative.
like a, a revival type church, and basically shouts some Bible verses at him before sending him on his way.
Yes.
Romans 16, 19, 10.
What the hell
What
happened?
was that?
That's the song they are singing in
Oh.
the church.
Do you know it?
No, I just
Oh, you
remember
know it from the movie.
song.
Oh.
It was catchy as hell.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, that is the most interested in Bible verse I've ever been. Was
Is
during
that-
scene?
Bible verse you just sang, the sheep wolves one, or no?
No, I think they talk in the song.
The
they
song
talk about
is them just reciting
Yeah.
the Bible verse.
So,
Kyrie eleison.
so he heads off to New York.
He heads off to New York. They show him picking a jury, in which case we see that he has this very strong intuition about who is going to be for them and who's going to be against them.
Also racist.
Also racist. The one of the big shot lawyers who turns out to not be important at all is like, who's this kid? Like, either this kid goes or I go. And the first time that we see that this law firm is like gonna get his claws in him is they're like, you walk. We have Keanu Reeves' back.
Yeah.
Kevin. His name is Kevin.
Kevin Lomax.
Kevin Lomax. Like, they're like, we're backing his play. So then he meets with all these fancy lawyers, and he finally meets Milton, John Milton, who is Al Pacino. He's the big guy. Like, he's the big boss.
one.
He's the big
Yep.
boss. And they have a meeting in his very fancy office where John Milton basically offers him a job and says, like, do you want to say
Oh, and I don't know if anybody else looked at IMDb trivia today, but that outside patio is not a green screen.
Yeah, it's a real place.
It's a real, 50th floor of a New York building,
Yeah.
which is crazy because it looked very fake to me.
I was also going to say that in spoilers for Ebert or Meebert, this isn't the quote that I pulled, but in Roger Ebert's review, he takes 38 words to talk about that infinity pool.
Wow.
He's because I guess he hadn't seen one,
Right.
and so because that wasn't always
It wasn't
a thing. And so he's like, "This is fucking amazing." And the production designer deserves awards. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that
This is just a
it's
I think
the
that's-
location
this is the
scout.
location-
Yeah.
The architect.
I think that's
deserves
why I
it.
originally balked at you saying there's not much spectacle in this movie, because Ebert's review is basically it's mainly spectacle.
That is
Oh.
true. He also
Yeah.
said,
Or he loves the spectacle.
yeah,
of
he
it.
talks. He's like at the end. He's like, if everything else in this movie were as good as the production design, this review would be more positive.
I think we should do Ebert or Meebert. since
All
we're
right,
here.
let's do it.
Okay.
Abby, I don't know if you can tell my voice yet, will not be playing this because I read
She
the
did.
review today. I actually didn't know. For some reason I forgot this was a segment. I just often, when I watch an older movie, will read the Ebert review.
So do I. That's why
I think that Rob and I are both super fans of Roger Ebert.
I am definitely a super fan. All right. Devil's Advocate is neither fish nor fowl. It is not a serious film about its subject, nor is it quite a dark comedy.
Ebert.
I also say Ebert.
I'll say Meebert because then we get both options.
It's an Ebert.
I know, I'm always wrong.
I had to just, I mean, that is the perfect description of this movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't make something up when that was available to
Yeah.
me.
So Kevin speaks with his wife Charlize about whether or not they want to stay and go home, and she initially is extremely enthusiastic about staying. She kind of notes that their prospects back in Florida are
They're
bad.
wooed by this amazingly big apartment.
Yeah, it's just a ridiculous apartment. The people that show them the apartment are also involved with the firm, and they make it very clear that them being offered this apartment initially, when they first joined the firm, is very weird.
It took us 6 years.
took us 6
Wow,
years.
The
he
black
must
lawyer
really
who-
like you.
It's the black lawyer who made the offer, the character's name I can't remember, and then his wife, played by Tamara Tooney,
Yes.
who's from McKeesport.
Yeah, she went to CMU.
Oh.
I fucking love her.
Yes, she's also
Uh,
on Law and Order, correct?
Yeah, she's on SVU, the coroner or
Yes.
whatever.
She's brutally
Oh,
perfect.
that's what I know her from.
They
She
say
has big
it's
nipples.
mostly a yes.
I'm sorry,
You just
she has-
spoiled a point.
I'm sorry. We were just
And so
talking
is
about her a
Connie
lot,
Nielsen.
so I thought I'd throw in the fact
There
that she
are
has
a
big,
lot of
beautiful nipples.
Big nipples in this movie.
Yeah.
And we're not talking areola, guys. We're talking
Nipples.
No, we're talking length of your nipple
Length and width.
jutting out into the sky.
Yeah. So things start to get weird for Marianne Charlize. She starts to hang out with the other wives of the partners.
Tamara Tooney,
and another woman. We're the ladies who lunch, right? They go out shopping and they spend, they make this big deal of, we never see our husbands, so we're going to spend their money. And they try and kind of fold her in, and she is almost immediately weirded out.
And they give her shit about the color that she paints the
But
apartment.
they do it so perfectly.
Yeah.
So she's like,
And
Charlize's like big project is like, I've got this big empty apartment and my husband is gonna go be an important lawyer, but I have to like fit in a place where I don't fit in, and this apartment is like a test for me to have good taste and be a fancy New York lady. And she like goes to paint it, and the other woman is like, not with your complexion. She keeps putting up like different paint choices, and the woman keeps like undercutting everything, and at the end is like, well, it's up to you. Like, I don't know why you're asking me.
Right.
So she's like completely destabilizing her in a very like malicious way.
Yeah.
But
Very
it's
gaslighty.
also- I think the movie like calls to the story The Yellow Wallpaper.
I
and
was
at some
just
point-
going to say, when I read The Yellow Wallpaper in high school, I said, oh, like it the devil's advocate.
Yeah, she holds yellow wallpaper up and it's like, how about this?
Yeah.
And like,
Also, Colin said, hasn't she ever heard of paint chips?
Right.
Because she literally, like, takes out a roller and does a big thing.
It also
Caribbean green.
was fascinating in that they have these extremely expensive interior decorators who are like charging them $2,000 a panel for fabric or whatever, and yet Charlize is painting herself. Like, I'm like, hire some painters, lady.
Well, that's because she's not actually a fancy New York lady yet, right?
Yeah, I read an article that was saying that the women's treatment of Charlize in a movie with a lot of very overt evilness is actually the most evil thing in the
Right.
movie. Like,
Because
Yeah.
I think that, so they show Charlize as being this very like sassy, sort of like spunky lady, and so I think it's very clever in that if these women had come at her head on and been mean, that
She would've been
that
like, "Fuck
character,
you!"
right, realistically
Right.
would have been like, I'm writing you off. But because they were outwardly nice and slowly undercutting her, it wormed their way in like a disease.
yeah.
And I also think that they do things where they assume a comfort that she doesn't have as a way to highlight how alone and
Mhm.
out
Yeah.
of place she is. Like when later in the movie when they're like trying on clothes, like the one woman is just like completely naked. And Charlize is intensely uncomfortable with it, and it highlights, I think, like
And
it's
then
like,
she's like,
you
"Touch
don't
my
belong
boob."
here.
Right.
This like these
And
aren't
then-
your people.
Right. And then at the end of that scene, they're like, oh, and by the way, you'll probably get a boob job someday. When
Yeah.
she's probably like rattled.
Yeah.
Right.
That's also when she has her first vision.
Yeah.
That is when she starts to see demons inside of these women.
Yeah, you see a hand run under the skin and like caress the boob from inside.
It's
and I have to say,
super creepy.
20 years later, that special effect holds
Yeah,
up.
it's
Very
like-
good.
yes,
It's
it's
gross.
really
The
gross.
demon faces hold up.
Yeah,
They are
that's-
scary.
Those are some of the few digital effects that actually look good in this movie.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
some that look really bad.
Yeah.
CGI cut Bob here to lay down the law.
But these ones look great. Like this, so
And
far
it's not
so
just because
good.
they're boobs.
The CGI on Tamara's nipples are amazing. They
Yeah.
look so large.
The mouth looks great.
I know the boobs can't possibly have that large.
Little
nipples.
known fact, those nipples were played by Andy Serkis in
That is the littlest known fact. It couldn't be known less.
It really shouldn't be. I wish I could unsay it. I've upset
No.
myself.
It's no recorded.
Oh, that's going in.
We don't take requests for cuts.
So, moving along the plot, Kevin Lomax, Keanu, is moving up the ranks in this law firm. He's being tested in very different ways, and he's holding up. Basically, that's a huge chunk of this movie is he is holding his own in this New York law firm, so Marianne is being left home alone
Right.
more and more. So basically, her loneliness is growing and his prowess at the firm.
Yes.
Then he is adapting. Like she
Right.
like tries to change her look because
Al
Al
Pacino
Pacino
her into it.
creepily
Mhm.
gives her a speech about how a woman's shoulders are the front line to her mystique.
Yes.
And he thinks that, that she should cut her hair, which she does.
Yeah.
Also, are they trying to make her less attractive? Is that his goal?
No, I think he actually is making her look more like the wife of high-powered attorney.
See, because my interpretation of that, and I am willing to be told that this is not true, was that he wants to shuffle Keanu over to Connie Nielsen.
Mhm.
And so he's like, I'm going to make your wife less attractive. Especially like in the sex scene where he keeps fantasizing that he's fucking Connie Nielsen instead. It became like very apparent that they were trying to make Charlize not look like the most beautiful woman on the planet.
Right.
And I'm like, this is a tall order, guys.
Yes.
I think he's just
that would
fucking
make
with
sense.
Charlize. And I also think the perm is like country for
That's what I think it's country.
I didn't necessarily think they were trying to make her look less attractive, but Keanu Reeves does note when Charlize is starting to come unhinged, you cut your hair, you have this big thing. And culturally, at least, a woman making a drastic cut in her hair is shorthand often for coming unhinged.
An important note, her eyebrows, guys.
They were real good.
Perfectly
Yeah.
normal. We do check in on our eyebrows
I
almost
know.
every
They did also change color when she got her hair.
Well,
she
she went to a nice salon.
They,
Yeah, she went
it's
to
like
a
they
salon.
sent her to a nice salon.
Yeah.
The other
What is happening?
weird thing that's happening with Charlize in the middle of the movie, the long middle of the movie, is she wants to start having children.
Right.
And they start
Oh,
setting
right.
it up when they are leaving Florida, and she says to Kevin, we should start having some grandchildren to get your mother off my back.
Yeah.
And it's sort of said in this like breezy, like, oh, just for this reason. And then he kind of puts it off of like, we'll make her wait a little bit. And Charlize's face falls.
Yeah.
Like, she clearly wants to start having kids soon. It comes up a couple of other times, and the scene where they have sex in the apartment and he is fantasizing about Connie Nielsen, and he says, to make her happy, let's make a baby.
Right.
And then things get really weird when she has a dream,
Or is
or
it?
is it that there's a baby in their apartment?
Who could have been way cuter. They must have had like 1 hour to cast that baby.
Yeah, really a
He looked-
toddler.
Yeah, he was like 3. He was like, I can poop in a potty. And I was like, nah.
And she kept calling him baby, which was confusing in that she calls Kevin Lomax baby.
Yeah, she was like, hi, baby. And he was like, what's up? I'm 3.5.
I'm 3.5.
Get me a cigarette, woman.
Yeah. So she had been holding a knife thinking someone had broken into her apartment, clatters that to the floor, which is not a safe place to put that if there's a baby crawling around. but
Especially
okay.
a baby that could probably walk.
Yeah. And then like she like crawls towards the baby to be like, are you okay? Where's your mommy? And the baby turns around and he is holding
Entrails.
entrails. Yeah.
I always thought it was a miscarriage, is what he was like picking up.
It's
Right.
probably that.
I thought it was her ovaries.
That
Yeah.
is
Colin said-
not what ovaries
Yeah,
look
Colin's
like.
like, that's what ovaries look like? And I was like,
No!
So there's some guts, and then it cuts to Charlize freaking out, and her, of course, white nightgown has like a perfect triangle of blood in her crotchal region. And then it cuts to like Kevin coming home, and she's like, they took my ovaries, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
So one of my notes is that a lot of stuff happens off screen in
Yes.
this movie. So
Yes.
like, for example, she tells him a story right now about how she saw the doctor yesterday and the doctor told
Yeah,
her she
what?
can't
That
have
was so
children.
weird.
And
I
it's
like
like,
that.
why didn't, I mean, I think I know why they do this, but it's still very awkward.
I think they do it because Kevin is losing any contact with what his wife's day-to-day life
I
is.
wish
Right.
we could have seen a hair of an indication that she was maybe even just going to the doctor, because I do think it's so jarring that it's like,
Right.
oh, is this just a crazy...
Well, I think
I would have
Right.
rather just known that she's not being crazy, because it's
Right.
just confusing
And
unnecessarily.
because we do see things, it's not just from Kevin's limited perspective. Like, we see her have to hold Tamara Tooney's boobs. Like, we do see her private breakdown.
And we see her with Ugly Baby.
It's deliberately obtuse, I think. Like, you see the things like the dramatic weirdness that she goes through, but you don't see like the pedestrian. Like, well, went to the doctor yesterday.
I just want to quickly imagine. So there's like 3 writing credits. There's like a book and then 2 screenwriting credits. And there's a director. And all 4 of these people are men. And I just love the idea of just them all chatting like, what do like ovaries? I think it's like intestines. Yeah.
Is it like strip
Give the Ugly Baby some intestines.
Just send somebody to the butcher. See what they have in the trash.
Just pull out the craft service.
Does this look like ovaries? Yeah, I think so. And then Charlize is like, excuse me, time rolling. And the baby's like, I gotta be home by 6. Hey, if that baby is grown up and listens to this podcast, please tweet us. And
Please tweet us.
I would love to know what you look like now.
Yeah, me too.
Would
I
love to.
assume you're much more attractive.
Yeah.
Do you know what ovaries look like now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
baby is actually Chris Pine.
Little known fact. Those ovaries were played by.
It's
Well known
circus.
fact, Chris Pine knows all about what ovaries look like.
Well known fact.
So we almost done summarizing.
No, you guys are like halfway through.
All right. So.
We haven't even got it to Donald Trump yet.
Oh. Yes, we have. We've been
No.
past that.
Yeah, that was at the party.
Yeah.
No.
The
The-
facsimile for Donald Trump.
Yes. Craig T. Nelson's character.
Oh.
Yeah, the guy with the golden room.
That's
Yeah, you're right.
literally Donald Trump's house.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You guys didn't pick up on this? Oh, okay. It made the movie much worse for me, so
I
I'm glad.
Just picked up on the reference to Donald Trump
So
at the party.
Yes.
they did that thing where they were like, yeah, so we're going to have a stand-in for Donald Trump, so let's say Donald Trump so that you think that we must have invented this character because he's in the same universe
Yeah.
as the real Donald Trump.
He's an unlikable real estate mogul in New York who's had several marriages, and he has had a lot of work with the law firm previously, and then they get a phone call that's basically like his wife and kid have been killed,
and their
Stepson.
nanny.
and their nanny, and he was there, and even though he hadn't used the Milton firm for criminal defense previously in this sense, they're going to hire him, and Kevin Lomax will be the main attorney on the case, even though he's never done it before.
Yeah.
and he claims he didn't do it, and then
And
we
he's like
learn that
emphatic that he didn't do
yeah,
it.
and then we learned that he was having an affair. And so Kevin is like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna have to like let the jury know that like you were fucking this girl.
It's
while
your alibi.
It's your alibi. And then we learned that he was not.
Because he is doing like a mock cross-examination of
To the mistress.
witness of the mistress, and he asks, "Is he circumcised?" And she doesn't know. Which
Or she pauses.
She
for
pauses
too long.
and
Yeah.
like she's clearly like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And like she obviously would not.
So I am mad because this movie that I would have said I loved made me think about Donald Trump's foreskin, and now so are you.
Yeah.
oh boy.
I,
Guys, you thought 2017 was bad before.
Yeah.
I can hazard a guess that our president's dick is all foreskin. So.
It's only the bad part.
you can't see my face, but it just inverted on itself, trying to get away from that statement.
Wait, if we just keep rolling it back, will a decent human being be underneath? Guys, just like wipe the smegma, push it down, and see what comes out. Maybe we
He's
have
all
a decent-
smegma, too.
oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm upset.
Just roll it back.
So we go to the trial, I guess. Basically, Kevin Lomax defends him.
Yes.
Gets him off.
Gets him
And-
off.
right,
Which
and
is also off screen.
knowing that the mistress is lying, which is another choice that he makes.
Yes.
Right.
And
Oh,
also,
and Pacino is like,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
you're gonna lose this one.
Yeah. And Marianne has been getting progressively worse, and obviously Kevin's probably talking to Al Pacino about it. Al Pacino's like, you haven't considered quitting the case?
Right. Take yourself off the case. Like
he specifically
Al Pacino-
says, like, take care of your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone will understand your wife is sick. She comes first.
Right. And
As
Kevin.
is quoted later by the devil to him. He's like, don't you remember you said, my fear is she gets better and I resent her for it.
Right. I don't want to resent her.
Yeah.
And it's him just talking himself into doing what he wanted to do anyway.
Yeah. So wins the case, and then now he's gonna come home, take care of Marianne. He's won this big case, but Marianne is at the nearby church.
Yes.
And then we have a very amazing Charlize scene.
So she is sitting in the church wrapped in this pink comforter, and she's very tearful, and he's like, what's going on? And she starts to try and kind of explain something / apologize, sort of, and is essentially saying that John Milton had come to their apartment that day, talked to her for several hours, and then raped her. And
Even though she sort of wanted to.
right, like, she started going along with it, but then I think she does say, like, I tried to
She
make him
definitely
stop.
said she
Yeah.
begged him to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it may have started out as consensual, but it was rape.
Right.
Ultimately.
Yes.
And Kevin is like, what are you talking about? I've been with him all day.
And he's angry.
He's angry about it and doesn't understand what's happening. And Charlize then reveals that she is naked under the comforter and covered in cuts and bruises.
Mhm.
She says, he did this to me. At which point, Kevin is like, what's happening to you? He, like, wraps her up and...
Whisks
He
her
thinks-
to a mental hospital.
Also,
Because he thinks
full
that
frontal
she-
Charlize, guys.
There's a
Full
lot of that.
frontal.
He thinks that she's done it to herself,
Right.
so that she needs to be hospitalized
Right.
to protect
And they
herself.
take her. They believe him.
And so I'm trying to remember what happens before like the next mental hospital scene.
Nothing important.
Nothing important.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, let's.
Oh, Eddie Barzoon.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, so
Eddie
Eddie Barzoon is the
Eddie
managing
Barzoon.
partner, and he has some like moments with Keanu. It's not really important. We'll talk
This
about it.
is unnecessary to this
We'll
movie.
talk
Yes,
about it in
100%.
the Keanu. It's so that Al Pacino can have a second giant monologue in this movie.
Right.
So Eddie Barzoon
Yeah.
Oh,
is
right.
basically someone who is under the wing of Milton and presumably has previously like sold his soul and is now thinking like maybe I can get out from under this and I'm gonna like tank the law firm. And he's out for a job. And Al Pacino gives a big monologue about how we're all greedy, terrible people and it's the 20th century and we're the worst. And as Eddie
Humans.
Barzoon is running, So he's being pursued by invisible demons, and then homeless people who also appear to be demons beat him to death. And then...
Which Marianne is forced to watch.
Yes, she witnesses
Which
this.
is very poorly shot.
Yes.
It very much seems like she's looking out her window at something upsetting.
Yeah.
And
Right.
because their apartment didn't actually have a look into Central Park.
Yeah.
They should have filmed this in Donald Trump's apartment.
Nor does she have binoculars
Yeah.
at the time.
I
Like,
know,
she's
I
know,
very
I know.
Yeah.
far away.
I think.
Mhm.
And then at Eddie Barzoon's funeral, we have a magical moment where we're finally figuring out who this mysterious John Milton character is. Because,
I didn't want to talk
Maybe
about the
so
water.
subtle before.
and then we got Gotcha Eyes Chino looking straight at the camera as he sticks his finger into some holy water, and some magic bubbles appear. And that he winks at the
The
camera.
magic bubbles
First,
are
wait,
water boiling.
I will point out
Correct.
that before he puts his
It's not fizzy.
before he puts his
It's
finger in
LaCroix.
and it
Only
bubbles,
LaCroix.
It's a soda stream.
he has a
Looks straight
moment
up
where
at the
he's
camera.
at first he points at it and it looks like he's going like, I'm
I?
gonna do it,
Can I?
I'm gonna do it, and then he's like, yeah, it's my
doing it.
favorite devil thing.
And I
Yeah.
think we're meant to believe that he is looking at God, like, fuck
Yeah.
you, Dad.
So that scene, the boiling holy water was in the commercials for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I remembered, and I went and looked up and checked, because this movie would have been so much better if it was ambiguous. If
But then-
anything actually
Right,
supernatural.
but I read an article on it today that was basically like, if you have a movie called The Devil's Advocate and Al Pacino is in it, like no one's gonna be like, I wonder which one the devil is.
I think that the movie was designed for you to not know.
I was curious about that too, like when the mom's doing the speech, I'm like, we know.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't like.
Well,
so,
I guess we didn't know the father thing. That is the
Yeah.
surprise.
So
That's the
Roger Ebert,
to me, anyway, when I was younger.
When Roger Ebert saw The Truman Show, he did not know what it was about.
Mhm.
And he described that experience as being like, he's like, that movie is so much better not knowing what's going on in
Yeah.
this guy's life and then finding out. And it's unthinkable to me because I obviously knew the premise of the movie well before I saw it.
Right.
And it's also such a great movie on its own that I'm not like, I can't imagine that movie being better.
Right.
This movie, as much as I love it, I can imagine it being better, and I think that maybe I would have liked it more if it was ambiguous.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just feel like with movies like this, I think any attempt to make it a twist that he was the devil would have felt so ham-fisted that I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with them leaning into it.
All right, so back in the mental hospital.
Yes.
Okay, so we're in the mental hospital and Charlize kills herself. Okay, let's move it along.
It's very
so
very
sad.
upsetting.
And Keanu does really good acting there.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
great.
She sees one more
They do.
demon lady in the
Right.
secretary from the firm, or
And Charlize had said before that she can't look at herself because as she's checked into the mental hospital, she calls out, blood money, we drank
Yeah.
it down, coming here was a mistake.
Yeah.
And she forces her to look at herself in the mirror, and then she freaks out and then breaks the mirror and then locks
And
everyone
then-
out of the room.
and then picks up one of the pieces of glass and slits her
Okay.
neck.
It is real upsetting.
Yeah,
It's
very
very
upsetting.
Very
Yeah.
gruesome.
And so Kevin's mother has come to town.
By the way, Keanu just spends the rest of the movie covered
I
in
know.
her blood.
I think that's a good choice.
It was distracting to me in all subsequent scenes. I was
It
like,
bothers me a
He
little
did.
in the last scene because the way it's soaked on the one collar where the angle is, it looks like one of those like 80s or 90s like men's collars, like almost like there's like a tip on the end that's like, you know, like
I know
black.
exactly
Got a
what you're
wingtip.
talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? That's what it looks like to me. It's almost like the designer didn't splatter it properly. And on the one side it's splattered, but on the other side it is a true, just like wingtip.
Dead. But seriously, his wife dies in his arms, and he's like, "Mom, you're gonna tell me more about what you're telling
So
me
right,
about."
so his mother's in town, and so he's like, "Okay, you've been starting to tell me about something. What's going on?" And she's basically like, "I recognized John Milton. He is your father.
Yeah.
he's the guy that I had sex with.
Sorry.
Right, he's the guy that I had sex with the night that you were conceived."
And then I think one of the best genuinely creepy moments of the movie happens because he's like, oh, I'm gonna go see my dad.
Yes.
And he walks out and the woman from the firm is standing there.
Yeah.
And she, like, Pam, for the first time, like, the demons that work for him, like, let themselves be known to him. And she's like, oh, you look so scared. Like, don't worry about it. Like, he's waiting for you.
Yeah.
He'll
And
take
they-
all your fear away.
Yeah, and she's very, like, just cool about it,
Mhm,
and the whole street is empty, and I feel like that is a thing that happens a lot in movies nowadays, where it's
Okay.
like, all of New York is empty, but I remember seeing that and being like,
We
really-
So
Yeah.
I actually saw, I think on the Wikipedia page or somewhere that I looked today, it talks about how this movie
Yes.
and Open Your Eyes or
Which is what-
or whatever,
Yeah.
Which is what Vanilla Sky is based on. Yeah.
both did that scene. Obviously not in New York for the Spanish movie, but they both did that scene like roughly at the same time, and it's like who's ripping off who?
Yeah. So he
It's-
goes.
That street was played by Andy Serkis.
I would like to nominate this as a new running theme.
New segment.
What thing could be played by Andy Serkis?
Little known fact: Andy Serkis
Yes.
played what
In this movie?
Yeah.
So we get to Al Pacino's apartment to have
The confrontation.
arguably one of the best scenes in all
Of
modern
cinema
film.
history.
Yes.
I stand by that.
No,
I
I
will watch
believe
this
you.
scene anytime. If this movie's on TV, I might not watch the whole thing, but if it's close to this scene,
I'll watch that.
I will wait and watch
I
it.
gotta say also, we mentioned this before. It's long, okay?
Yes.
Like, because I was
Yes.
rewatching the
Yeah.
movie this afternoon, and I had to go to a show at 7, and it was 6:10, and I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'll have time, and Colin's like, it's 6:10, the movie's almost over, and I'm like,
No, it isn't.
No.
No, because this isn't a dramatic monologue as the conclusion. This is a whole act of a play.
Yes.
Yes.
It's an entire
This is-
fifth act
Yeah.
with a lot of lines.
Or it's
So-
almost like the fourth act.
Yeah.
Right?
In high
Yeah.
school, I did competitive forensics, which is competitive public speaking.
I love where this is going.
And I saw someone do this speech
Yes!
in competition,
Of course you
which
did.
you were not allowed to do clippings from movies. So they were like, they were a rule breaker. And I remember being in that heat of competition and being like, you're a fucking rebel. Like,
My respect.
my respect. Like, I stand up and applaud you, sir.
So what happens?
So basically, not much. It's like the plot of this scene is pretty simple.
Right.
It's basically
Yeah.
and he's
Kevin
like,
confronts him and is
Yeah.
like, are you my dad?
The
He's like,
veil is
"Yeah."
removed.
the veil is removed. I'm your dad. I'm the devil. I want you to take over the firm.
I did fuck your wife.
I did fuck your wife. I want you to take over the firm. I'm using air quotes, aka the world. And I want you to do it with your
Half-sister.
surprise half sister.
So the woman he had been fantasizing about,
Connie Nielsen.
who he felt like an immediate attraction to as soon as
Yes.
he met her, is apparently his half sister.
Yes.
And
he is really not. I mean, I know he's got a lot on his plate at that moment, but he's really not at all fazed by the near incest, and in fact, leans right on it.
Oh yeah, leans in.
the devil essentially wants the two of them to combine their DNA to create one
Super baby.
demon.
Antichrist.
Who become the
Or
Antichrist.
whatever.
Or whatever.
That's not how genetics work.
No, like I was like,
No, that's why.
What
Just
if being the devil is recessive?
Just to clarify, the reason why I like that line so much is every other thing he says in that scene is like, I'm a guh. And then it's the Antichrist. Whatever.
Well, and he's
Chill.
like, are you Satan? And he's like,
Call me dad.
And he does. I love that. For the rest of the movie, Keanu does that.
So anyway, he decides, so it seems like he's toying around with the idea of possibly fucking her. They kiss.
right. And he gets her
Frank
gigantic
Sinatra
nipples
starts playing.
Yes.
So
And Al Pacino is lip syncing, and Colin said, "Is he actually singing? Like, do his devil powers encompass being a radio?"
They do.
Do
Because-
they?
Yes, because at some point
He
he
quotes
mimics
Keanu.
in Keanu's voice.
but I think he is
love
also
that.
playing.
Kevin has a whole thing about, like, you have done all of this. Al Pacino was like, I have done none of this. I have put the pieces on the board, and you've made every choice.
Which I've got questions.
I
about.
agree with that.
Okay,
He does.
He killed Barzoom,
he killed Eddie
Yeah,
Barzoon,
that's true.
but that has nothing to do
but
with
and
Kevin's
he
decisions.
raped Kevin's wife,
And he didn't believe her.
Yeah. I mean, like, I agree that, like, you are frail thing, but this whole, like, I don't do anything thing the devil's going with, I'm like, buddy, you do.
Right.
You
That's fair, but
definitely do.
but Kevin makes many choices.
I agree. Yes.
Along the way. The devil's kind of like, you've chosen to be here, this is what you want, free will, blah, blah.
At any point, you could have noticed how fucked up all this shit was.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, for example, a scene where they're out at a restaurant and they're hanging out, and then Al Pacino's like, hey, chick next to me, get under the table and
Oh,
give
right.
me a blowjob.
Right.
She
and
does.
He looks, and Keanu, like, looks at him and is like, oh, that's uncomfortable, but
Right.
I'm just gonna smoke a cigarette and talk to the
All
man
right, I
next
guess
to
I'll
me.
be your partner.
Yeah,
Right.
like, he turns a blind eye.
Also, signifying his getting more and more evil. I don't know if you noticed, but his suits get progressively darker.
Colin
his-
pointed that out.
His
to
hair
me.
gets slicker and slicker.
Yes.
And his accent gets more and more.
Yes.
What's going on?
Okay, the thing with this accent, I was talking to Colin about this. That is a thing for Southern people in high-powered jobs to try to hide their accent, and they're not always great at it. So I realize what probably is happening there is that Keanu's not very good at accents and failed.
We can write it off as
but
a
let's
true
say it's a
character
choice.
choice.
Totally,
Very
yeah.
deep
You know
choice.
who has no excuse? Connie Nielsen, who is Italian for one scene and then just becomes Connie Nielsen.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Why did they
I
make her Italian?
I was
Just
never sure if she was supposed to actually be Italian or she could just speak Italian.
That's what I
She
thought, yeah.
introduces herself in English at that party that Donald Trump was supposed to be at, and she has a very thick Italian accent.
Okay,
And her name's
then
also
that is gone.
Christabella.
Yeah, her
And then
name
for the
is
rest of it, she's just
Yep,
vaguely...
just good old Connie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Christabella. Man, these names are
I know.
subtle.
Subtle. Just like this whole movie is just a study in subtlety.
Yes.
Yeah, Al Pacino
Um,
got your eyes.
So
Yeah.
what happens? Keanu does shoot himself.
Well, so Keanu shoots himself because it's like his only way out, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like if
Free
he-
will.
Yeah, his
Like
free
in
will.
Fight Club.
Yeah, he commits suicide to prevent himself from going down this
Creating a-
path.
yeah.
Right.
And then,
Al
Then-
Pacino gets real mad.
yeah,
He gets real mad, and
sets
he
Christabella on fire.
CGI turns into Keanu as a archangel.
As an
I
Or-
think
Yeah.
it's supposed to be him when
Keanu,
he was
right,
younger.
right, and that's why
but
Keanu,
it does look like Keanu.
Yeah, which I think it's on purpose.
And they do. I love that they take the moment to acknowledge that someone who can look like anything has chosen to look like Al Pacino in his 50s because he says he likes when he like fucks women and then they're like, "Wait, you just fucked me?"
Right,
right.
So I'm glad they acknowledge that. But yeah, I guess what they're saying is that Lucifer looked like Keanu at the fall.
So he kills himself, and then Al Pacino transforms and is just set on fire. Connie Nielsen dies.
The big wall.
The big
painting,
wall turns into all the souls of the
because
damned,
they've
and
been turning
everybody's
into
upset.
naked
Sexy
bodies.
people.
And then in this, everything kind of like
Takes
crescendos.
the fire.
And then suddenly there's a close up into an eyeball, and it's Keanu Reeves' eyeball, and we are taken back to the scene at the very beginning of the movie where Keanu Reeves is in the bathroom at that moment where he had just found out that his defendant was guilty because he was fondling the desk with his hand down his pants, and he's in the bathroom, and the press guy is like, "You can't win them all," and Keanu Reeves looks in the mirror and then comes back into the courtroom, sees beautiful Charlize,
permed Charlize.
Not
blonde,
with glass in her throat for a
not
change.
glass in her throat, kisses her, hugs her, and he's like, I'm going to do the right thing. And then he basically is like, Your Honor, I can no longer defend.
The court explodes. it freaks out.
Also, so you shouldn't do that. That's
Right.
bad. But I don't think you'd get disbarred for
I was
it.
wondering
No.
about that
Yeah.
because like everyone freaks out and he's like,
'Cause
"I'll
he
probably
didn't-
never be a lawyer again."
No,
Because
I
he
don't
didn't
think
say because he's guilty.
Right.
He just says I can't do it anymore, which could be for any reason.
And then it would
He
just be
say
called a
cases
mistrial.
all the
Yeah.
time.
And then
All
he
the
would just get a new trial.
Right.
That's exactly what would happen.
Right.
I was with this movie, but then that was
That's
so
where I originally
unrealistic.
started.
I agree.
The mistrial process.
I would have loved it, but I was like, nah,
Yeah.
come on. That's
Yeah.
So he's leaving. All the press is like, "Oh my gosh, Kevin, Lomax, Kevin." And then his press friend is like, "Get out of here, everybody else." And they're like, "Okay." And so he's like, "Hey, Kevin, oh my God, like, this is your ticket to fame.
Right.
Like,
We're gonna write a book about you.
Are you
celebrity.
kidding me? A lawyer with a crisis of conscience? Like, this is 60 Minutes. And Charlize is like, "Honey, once again enticed," the way she was by the first
Right,
department.
because women are the worst.
Because, Eve with the
Eve.
apple. And he's like, and then Kevin
subtle.
at first is like, no. And then he acquiesces and says, "All right, you know what? Call me in the morning." And then the press guy is like, "Oh, you got it." And then he turns, looks to the camera.
Straight in the camera.
And CGI transforms into Al Pacino, and let's say it all together, he says to the camera, "Vanity! Definitely my favorite sin! I see a black door and I want to paint it black."
Credit to this movie for not using sympathy for
I
the devil.
had the exact same thought. Like,
What's that?
way to not grab
It's
the
another
low-hanging
Rolling Stones
fruit.
Yes.
Oh.
Because this is actually more appropriate.
Yes.
Unlike
Yeah.
15 Minutes, it was like, yeah, we're gonna use the song Fame. Anyway, back to a better movie.
Okay, so
So
that's
we
our
did
film.
it.
Yeah. When we were prepping our guests for this episode, it's like, we're going to have you summarize it. Try to keep it brief. And then Abby said, "I've listened to your show. That's not how you do it." And we were like, That's not how we do it. So,
No.
but that was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, let's get into some segments, guys.
So, if anyone else, who would Keanu play in this movie?
I'm gonna
Not
go
himself.
first.
Okay, right.
So you can decide that he can play himself. You can pick anyone else.
Can I make him for example, for Legend of Bagger Vance, we had young Keanu play
Yes.
one role and old Keanu play
Well,
another.
here's what
Yes.
I would do: is I
Okay.
would have current day Keanu replace Al Pacino and play against young Keanu, and they just wouldn't recognize that they're the same person.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I understand that thematically. I feel like Al Pacino gives one of the greatest performances in the history of cinema in this movie.
But wouldn't you love to hear?
I'm thinking I'm back.
Okay,
In-
I think that maybe I wouldn't mind watching like a staged reading
Yeah.
where Keanu
Yeah,
has to play
hey,
Al Pacino.
You can make your own choice
Sure,
for your
okay.
own Keanu casting, but
Yeah.
for me,
But what was the answer to if we cast him in something, he still gets to be the Keanu character?
no,
Yeah.
you can
It's
take
just
him
been-
out if you want.
can
But what if
make
I
it.
want to leave him there?
You can.
Yeah.
There can be one extra
This is
Keanu.
Yes.
you can
This
clone
is a-
Keanu, you can time travel Keanu.
Got it.
This is a bonus episode because normally we only have one Keanu to play with.
Right.
Now we have
Right.
two.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right.
Yep.
So who would you
Okay.
do?
So I would absolutely keep him in his current role. And I'm torn. I kind of want to see him play one of the demonic wives.
Yes. Oh,
He
I
could
can't
be
wait to
Pam's
Photoshop
wife.
Keanu with
Yeah.
nipples. Oh no, Instagram's terms of service.
You can have him play the nipple.
It's his
He's
head.
gonna replace
That's
Andy
it.
Serkis.
All right,
Or
that's it.
put him on the body and Andy Serkis over the nipples.
Amazing. Or I would maybe have an older John Wick era Keanu play Eddie Barzoon.
Okay, I want him to play Eddie Barzoon mostly because Jeffrey Jones makes me uncomfortable because
Yes.
he
Yes.
is a child rapist or something like that.
What?
Yeah.
And
So-
he was in Howard the Duck.
That's comparable.
I can't remember if it was molestation or kitty.
You're
But
right, I remember
he's,
that.
He's a creep, so
Yeah.
I don't like seeing
And
him in movies.
I would like to see Eddie Barzoon presented as sort of a more threatening presence.
And not just sweaty.
Right,
Like, I feel like
yeah.
that's his defining
seems
characteristic.
like such a buffoon.
He's
I'm like,
such an unnecessary
how are you the fucking
character.
managing director
Right.
of this firm?
You're
Like,
not intimidating.
ooh, here's a fan theory. So in the final, the denouement scene of Al Pacino being the devil, he says, "I've had so many children, so many mistakes, people who are
many
not as
disappointments.
so many disappointments, people who are not as good as Kevin and Christabella, and so they can't fulfill the destiny. What if Eddie Barzoon is a failed child?
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
All the more reason for him to look like Keanu Reeves.
There you go.
What if it's like Lady in the Tramp? I love saying things for like Lady in the Tramp.
Oh my god, is that your gift to the Magi?
I think it might be. Listeners, Liz loves making references to the gift of the Magi.
I do, yes.
I would definitely keep him in his existing role.
He's great.
Yeah, I think he's really good.
Yeah,
he's
I do
perfect.
too.
Yeah.
He has a real character arc and
Yes.
really portrays it well.
Yes.
But I think I would. It's also hard to find other characters that he doesn't interact with because he's everywhere in this movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would have him in drag as the woman who blows Al Pacino under the table, and just have him be like, see this?
Yeah.
Like the symbolism.
But will he be old like John Wick era Keanu? Like grizzled, like I'll do it.
I'm gonna do it.
He does have long hair, so
Yeah.
could do it.
Love it.
I will make him
Eddie Barzoon.
Connie.
Connie Nielsen's nipples.
No, just all of her. I want to.
Yeah.
I want to see him being like, oh, Bella, doing some Italian.
And make out with himself at the end.
I'm there for that.
I'm there for that.
Awesome.
Alright, cheers.
All right,
Cheers to
so
that.
would this movie be improved by a prison riot?
I'm gonna say no.
I am also going to say no, and I hate that that's the case, but I can't really figure out where one would fit.
I just
Disagree.
don't want one. It's too long already.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could squeeze one in as demonstration of John Milton's influence
Yes.
over something.
Is that what you were
I
going to say?
don't know that it would improve it.
Here's the only time. So there is a middle case that we entirely skipped over in our lengthy plot review.
Oh my gosh, with Delroy Lindo killing
Correct.
a goat.
Which in this case, I fundamentally don't understand why it's in the movie. And at the end, he's like, "You came down this path. You helped a child molester. You defended a man via religious freedom when killing a goat."
But he was doing it for religious
Yes!
reasons.
It doesn't
He was actually not guilty.
correct. Yeah, so shitty job on you, Kevin
Right.
Lomax. And then you defended someone who killed his family and is fucking his stepdaughter. Totally a natural progression. So that whole case, I think that if we removed that scene and instead had them visit a client in prison, and as he walked out, like a riot happened behind him, and you were kind of like, well, we get it as the audience that something weird is happening, but Kevin Lomax doesn't, then maybe that would have been fine.
Because
But
they do have the dog bark at him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
So
All right, I disagree.
I think
take back what I said before. Sorry, Dad.
I would like to change my answer.
Okay.
On the Keanu.
Yes.
okay.
I would like teenage, Keanu
Ted.
to play the ugly baby. Because also, it would make a lot of sense that the baby
Would look like
Keanu.
Yeah,
just
that
like
kid
her.
did not.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Phew,
into it.
I can sleep
All right,
tonight.
thank
That
you.
is. Also, I say no to the prison riot because this movie is too long.
I think we should spend some time. Has everyone asked for Prison Riot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Charlie's in this movie.
Amazing.
I
Of
agree
course.
with what Bob said. Like turning point. Actually, when I was at IMDb today, I was like, oh, this was her first meaty
Oh,
role,
yeah, yeah.
and it is
Yeah.
meaty as hell.
Okay,
yeah.
and like if you see 2 Days in the Valley, which was her previous big role,
Yes.
like she's not good. She's very
Yeah,
woody.
Right.
You can literally see like the transition of her career happens during the course of this
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah.
exactly. Because
when
she even starts off kind of vapid and
Yeah,
like,
she starts off
oh,
as the pretty eye candy
yep.
who will show her boobs,
Right.
and then she becomes like a,
Yeah,
right.
like a
Very, very
psychologically
good, yeah.
damaged and like very well acted. She's the one who has the biggest arc
for
through this,
sure.
even more so than Keanu, who is also great.
I think this is the first movie that I saw her in.
I'm pretty sure for me too.
And I
At least
remember
the first time I remember her in.
the ovary scene like stuck in my mind like so much, like not just because I was always like I'm confused, like what's happening, and I think that her performance in this is super memorable. And it's like I was familiar with Al Pacino, I knew that I loved Keanu Reeves, but I was like, who is this other person who like is stealing scenes from them?
Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine stealing scenes from Al Pacino in your 3rd movie?
Yeah,
Right.
Like, holy
It's
cow.
crazy.
yeah.
She like I just think all of her scenes, and they're scattered throughout, like she does sort of disappear, and like Keanu is all over this movie. I think she's in the movie more than Al Pacino is.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just the painting scene, which we already talked about before, like just her reaction faces. Like this is her 3rd movie, and like I think like playing that type of role, like playing like a naive character early in the
Mhm.
beginning, like she has a lot of depth. to it.
One scene, literally maybe one scene that we haven't talked about yet is the scene after Keanu bails on her at the party. And
Yeah.
I would say that watching this as a 35-year-old wife, she acts, and that's like my favorite kind of acting, is like scenes that I'm like,
That's how it
I have
feels.
been here.
Yes.
Right.
Like literally she's like, I almost had a panic attack. I'm like, yep, been there. Like the line where he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I bailed on the party. And she's like, you bailed on me.
Right.
Right.
She plays that super well. Like in some ways, arguably the scene in the church could be easier because it's like, just go over
Right.
the
You're
top.
chewing the scenery.
Right.
Chewing the scenery.
There's a scene where she talks about how lonely she is. I don't know if it's the same scene as when she's like, you bailed on me, or if it's afterwards, but she's just where she's
No,
like,
it might be when she's
The baby.
she's
Let's have a baby scene.
or no, it might be when she has that one scene where it's like nighttime and she's hanging out with the neighbor
and
lady.
she
Where she's like, I'm really lonely, like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
Tamara is like, I have to make an appointment to see my husband.
Right.
Right.
yeah. And that's
I never
Also,
see
that's
like,
the
anymore.
scene where she
Really,
screams,
and she goes like, I'm so lonely. Like it's very
Right.
impassioned.
because he's like, well, what's wrong? Why don't you just do more stuff on the apartment? And that's when she screams like, this whole apartment is a test. She's just good as hell.
She's
in
so
this.
good.
I think we should do a podcast about her movies.
We should.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's-
I would listen to it.
It's like when I watched this movie as a child, I imprinted on this actress that
Yeah.
I would later.
Talk about her every week.
I just feel like we have not talked nearly enough about that amazing last scene. I read an article.
Guys,
So
tune into
great.
the Keanu review
The,
for that one.
the article that I read today was like, that scene, there are no less than 17 phrases that I would stitch on a pillow tomorrow. And they said, including but not limited to, God is an absentee landlord.
Guys, the best one is the one-word expression, and I think we can all say it together.
I'm a fan! I'm a humanist.
Maybe the last two.
Maybe the last two. That's on a pillow.
Yeah. So good.
All right, so
good.
Rankings.
well, we'll do the rankings first, and then we'll talk about how
Are
much we
there
love you guys.
cutscenes? I would love to see
I
the
have this on
bloopers of that scene.
Yeah.
Like I want to
Oh,
see
God, yeah.
every take they took
Yes.
of that scene, and I'm not exaggerating. Like if they were
Yeah.
like if a director
What
was, like,
was the progression of finding
It's,
I'm a fan of
it's
it?
like 3 hours of this scene. I would be like, Sign
I want to see Al
I wanna
Pacino
watch-
going up
yeah.
to the director being like, I'm just making sure the line is, I'm a fan of man.
Do like a cam table reading where it's like, I'm probably the last humanist.
I'm a fan of
I'm a
man.
fan of man.
Guys, he says cybernetic
He
keyboard.
does.
What does that mean? He means cybernetic.
He
I-
read it wrong.
And they couldn't do another take of that.
I wrote notes and I forgot to bring them, and it was, did he say kybernetic?
He does. I wrote
Because-
cybernetic keyboard.
I
Question
literally
mark.
assumed that
In
was
that
something
scene?
I hadn't heard.
He talks
of.
about he's like, this century is mine.
Yes.
I brought it. Everyone is on computers and aren't they terrible?
It's the same thing as like when they mispronounce modem in the net.
Yeah.
It's like nobody knew any better. On
Wait,
set.
what did they call it on the net?
And they call it a modem.
No.
Yep. And that
They-
movie's about the internet.
They
Right.
also mispronounce cellulite. They call it cellulite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In
I
which
was very
movie?
confused by that.
This
Yeah.
is
Let's send
Devil's
them an
advocate.
email on our cybernetic
Yeah.
keyboards.
Makes me think that they had done 300 takes.
And they were like,
Yeah.
this
let's
is the
just
best
go
one,
with
and
it.
they were like, whatever.
I want to believe it's
Too
a
long.
choice. He's like, the devil
No one really
pronounces
knows
the
that
Greek.
word yet.
No, it's
The
fine.
devil says GIF.
Wouldn't
He is here to torture
he?
us.
Wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Guys, there's so many like deep, dumb
He gives man instincts. And then, I swear, for his own amusement, his own cosmic gag reel, he sets the rules in opposition.
We could talk about this movie so much.
But we can't. In ranking it, I need to say that a lot of people, and this was like our most requested episode.
Yeah.
Like everyone who was like, I love your pod. All 4 people who were like, I love your podcast.
2 out of 4 people want to talk about this movie.
Right, so they were like, I would love to be a guest on your Devil's Advocate episode. It just kept coming up. When we first told Liz and Abby we were doing this, I think you immediately were like, Devil's Advocate!
Dibs!
Yeah.
Phantom Man dibs!
And I was shocked because I thought, I feel like a lot of people have their favorite, like, TBS movies.
Yeah.
And I thought, I was shocked that Liz liked it. I was
Were
like,
you
oh.
really shocked that I was into a movie about weird Catholicism?
Yeah.
But, so Abby and Liz did ask us first, and they are my best friends, and they're in my comedy troupe, so obviously they won, but the real reason...
No one's a loser in
No
this.
one's a loser, but when my mother died, my friends, to make me feel better, gave me a hat box full of Diet Coke and various treats, including The Devil's Advocate on DVD.
Oh, I didn't remember that was in there.
And Pump Up the Volume. But so it was like, you know what will make you feel better after this terrible loss? Al Pacino saying, Family Man!
Eating the scenery.
And they were right.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys.
Okay.
We love you.
You're welcome.
All right, so as such, I maybe actually am ranking it lower than that might suggest. I'm going to put this 4th behind Kubo and the Two Strings above That Thing You Do.
I really, really struggled to rank this one because I'm like, I can't think of any reason that aren't pretentious to rank it above Fate of the Furious. So I actually wanted to ask Liz Labacz, Fast and the Furious super fan, if it's okay to rank this, because I'm like, while Fate of the Furious is a legitimately joyful and blah 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 movie, this one has a lot of joy in it, but it's also like more numerous in the emotions that it brings out.
And
More
something that I
substantive.
don't
Yes.
totally know about the ranking is it rankings of Charlize like
It
as
depends
a
on each of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
as a Charlize movie,
Yeah.
I think this is better.
Of course.
Okay.
As a movie, I think maybe this is still better. Like,
All
and
right,
I love
all right.
some Fast and the Furious.
Twist.
But it's closer. It's much closer.
All right, so in that
Ask me
case,
tomorrow, I might have a different answer.
that makes it my number 4 then.
Okay.
In that case, just below Kubo and the Two Strings and above Fate of the Furious.
So I also struggled with this, and I think of the 3 of us, I'm the one that's the most adamant about I am ranking Charlize
That
in
is
this,
correct.
and Robin is more ranking
I'm
movies.
100% ranking the movie.
And
I
I
do
assume
get,
Bob
does
is
get some
mine-
bonus
yeah.
points for Charlize if,
Yeah.
if it's a close call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Same thing.
similar to Bob, I struggled with Fate of the Furious because I loved that movie, and it was my number 1 for some time. But I think that Charlize's role in it is so not what makes that movie delightful for me.
Yes.
Even though she is delightful in it, that's not the driving force of the movie. And this movie, I think also for sentimental reasons, like this is my inaugural Charlize movie, and I think that her scenes in it were like the only scene I distinctly remembered, even more than the speech at the end. The 2 things I remembered about this movie, having not seen it in like 10 years, was the organ bits and the moving sculpture behind him.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't remember Al Pacino's famous lines until I was watching. I was like, oh, yeah.
Right.
But it's like, but she stood out to me more than that. So as a result, it is my number 3.
Ooh,
It is below Kubo and the Two Strings and above Fate of the Furious.
All right, guys. So that was our 16th episode. Thank you for joining us. You guys are on for an ulterior motive because you
No, we're not.
have
No, we're
twisted
not.
us with your devilish
It's more
ways.
like that this is a nice coincidence.
Yes.
I would have been on this podcast
Anytime,
if my
anywhere.
entire comedy plugging career had dried up.
But as it stands,
Yes.
you
Yes.
have a show.
We
all
do.
3 of you.
We have 2 shows coming up
That's
in
right.
July. The first is Sketchville, July 22nd.
And then on July 29th, we have a Frankly Scarlett All Made Up show at Arcade Comedy Theater at 8 p.m. That is an improv show that is part short form and part long form. We invite some special guests to play with us.
Well, you should come see our show.
Come see our show, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
July
Just like that.
22nd, July 29th. Yes.
Yeah, so both at Arcade Comedy Theater.
Yes.
All right, thanks so much for being on the show, guys.
Thanks for having
Thank you for having us.
You're my heroes, and I love you.
And you know what?
I'm a fan of you guys!
Thank you. And I'm a fan of Alex Reed. who
Oh
wrote
my
our
goodness.
theme song.
So good.
Number 1 fan.
Yes.
So you should definitely go check out his music or his scholarly writing if that's more your speed. And most of all,
Thank you, Charlies!
And now you've heard the Theronathon. Every word of the Theronathon. It just occurred at the Theronathon. I hope your heart was stirred by the Theronathon. And that your kitties purred at the Theronathon. Your curiosity spurred by the Theronathon. You're turning into a nerd for the Theronathon. And if you're flipping the bird at the Theronathon, we are undeterred at the Theronathon. We're eating yogurt and curd.
I'm sorry. Your nipples are never not funny. Wow! Because of how she's always like, my nipples. And then she
There was a way to phrase that.
I'm sorry! Every time something about big nipples comes up, Robin will be like, you can't see me guys, but it's very like,
She's eye rolling. She's putting her lips to the side and talking out of the corner of her mouth.
I'm shocked, so I got something to say about it.
One eye is bigger than the other.
Are you describing her face or nipples?